Welcome to another episode of Mindful City, Tuning into Life, a podcast that brings you an intimate exploration of the businesses, practitioners, and artists making an impact in our community. Join us on Patreon for an exploration of all the people, places, and things that raise consciousness in our community by telling us about the businesses and happenings you'd like to know more about, and we'll explore them for you. Welcome to another episode of Mindful City, Tuning into Life. I am delighted to have as a returning guest, Just James from Intermittent for Vegans.com. I was introduced to James through joining the Intermittent Fasting for Vegans group on Facebook, one that has grown exponentially and has been an incredible support to me and several of my friends who are joining this group. It's been an amazing part of my health journey, getting me to a place where I would like to be, and having James with us, and not only his experience living through the process and the changes in his life, but also his incredible ability to research and find science-based evidence to support a lot of the findings and the benefits of intermittent fasting for vegans. We did an initial podcast before that talks a little bit about the process and answers those initial questions, but we wanted to bring James back to really talk about some additional questions that were posed in our group and things that people have asked me offline. So I'm very happy that you are joining us again, James. So thank you and welcome.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So I know you have a lot going on these days. One of the projects that you're working on, and I hope we could talk a little bit more detail about it towards the end of our talk together, is you have a book now and a 14-day program that you have put together where you're guiding and assisting others in their fasting journey. So how is that going?
Oh my gosh. I sure didn't expect it to turn into what it did. I had picked up the Christmas pounds, and I got up to about 170, and I wanted to get that off. I wanted to get it off quick and then go back into my, just never happened. So I just recorded what I ate for 14 days, and I lost over 15 pounds in 14 days, which is more than when I water only fast. It was incredible. It seemed insane to me. So I asked 10 people to join me in a little side group and see if they had similar results, and everybody did. So we're on our fourth round now. Starting Monday, we'll be on round 4 in the 14-day rapid weight loss program. I put it into a book, and everybody's enjoying it.
Well, I'm excited that we'll get to share a little bit more about that and have some information for our listeners so that they can join this program. I wanted to start off by saying we did in a podcast previously, just for those who are new to intermittent fasting, where we asked some of the basics to Just James. So I'll put the link in there for you to know. But I wanted to start off by helping James out so he doesn't want to go through a wood chipper with some of the questions that I'm about to ask. Is fasting really means not eating. So when people are asking a lot of the questions, they go, can I eat this during the fast? Can I eat this during my fast? That kind of defeats the process of fasting. So I wanted to set off by beginning to save you the trouble of having to answer that question again. So we share a little bit about it. Some of the questions that people are asking is about the process of autophagy. So if you wanted to just briefly explain a little bit about intermittent fasting again, and then the process of autophagy, if you'd like to start with that.
Sure. Well, okay, when we intermittent fast, we stop eating for a period of time, and then we have a period of time where we do eat. Your fasting window and your feeding window. So when you're in your fasting window and let's say you go to bed at midnight and you wake up at 8 a.m. Well, you just had 8 hours of fasting. So nothing's really happened there. Let's also pretend like you took your last bite of food at 11:59. So you got 8 hours of digestion in your pocket from the first 8 hours while sleeping. Then when you wake up at about 12 hours, 13 hours, you start increasing your growth hormone. 12 hours is when all the food has been digested. Now, this is going to change. Once you intermittent fasted for a length of time, your body will get used to digestion and stopping that at about 6 hours, which is awesome. But that takes time. That's 2 or 3 months away at a specific window for intermittent fasting. 13 hours, human growth hormone skyrockets. 16 hours, you're starting to get into glucose burning, or fat burning, because all the glucose is gone, from the body. And then 18 hours is the sweet spot for autophagy. But I caution people, 18 hours, you're not going to get there straight away. You need to be intermittent fasting for some time before I can say that 18 hours is the time where you flip the switch and you're starting to get into autophagy.
What is autophagy actually?
Okay, that's a big buzzword now because it comes along with fasting and people are very excited by it. They just want some of that autophagy. Yeah, it's a cellular cleaning crew. I like to say, pretend like there's an office and that office is the cell, and pretend like you have 4 workers in that office and you've got 3 sharp, hardworking individuals, and you got one that's super lazy, doesn't want to do anything, always sleeping. Those 3 get together and they're like, hey, if we eat that other worker, we're going to get stronger and more efficient, and we'll have that out of the way. Maybe we can, have a baby after that. It can grow up nice and strong. So that's what it is. It's a cell cleaning crew that eats the decrepit parts of itself and then washes it out and has it taken away, like puts it in the dump truck, the autophagosome, takes, and it takes it away. And then you have a nice clean office.
What
That's
are some of the
basically.
reasons then why people really want some of that autophagy? What are some of the
Oh, well, hey, let me tell you, one of the decrepit cells is a cancer cell or any type of a cell that seems odd. They want to get rid of it. Now, if you're eating from 8 in the morning until midnight, you're not going to get a whole lot of that. And I'll let you in on a secret. Autophagy is always happening. There's, to some degree, autophagy is always occurring in the body. If you stub your toe, that's stress. Autophagy is like, oh, we got to go help out. Let's get rid of the decrepit things that are causing problems down there. It will help with your skin, make your skin so nice and smooth and bright. It will, and here's one that folks really love, is that it will suck your skin in and tighten it up. So if you do some, autophagy, you can have some benefits towards that loosening skin.
Well, as you said, everybody wants some of that these days, and
Oh
intermittent
yeah.
fasting is such a topic of discussion. It's becoming very trendy right now. Um, Specifically, the group that I connected with through James is the Intermittent Fasting for Vegans. So it's specific for vegans in a sense that the diet requires a little bit of attention to get the proper nutrients, in our bodies during those times. Um, with intermittent fasting becoming so important, there's so many variety of types of fasting and times, and that seems to be the question that a lot of people are having. What is the differences, or what are some of the benefits of these different types of times?
Well, so it's very individualized. It's what works for you. Um, I always say, start off low and slow and work your way up. If it's 12 hours, just to get you used to a window, and then add an hour to your fasting on the side. Make it 13 hours of fasting. Do that once a week until you work up and you start seeing results. So the difference is 16/8 is absolutely the most popular. You can put all your food in an 8-hour window, and then you have 16 hours off. So 16 hours is a good one for weight loss. Or weight maintenance. You're gonna get there with the 16/8. It just might take a little bit longer. The one thing about a 16/8 is you're not really getting the benefit of the autophagy, or much of the benefit of autophagy, because 18 hours is kind of what the minimum of what you need to get in.
But you're getting the fat burning benefit, though.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're getting the fat burning benefit.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, so 18/6 is designed for someone that just doesn't want to have this whole 8-hour window to be thinking about food, So 18/6 is nice, because then, you break your fast, then you have another meal, and then you close with one meal. So you get your 3 meals in 6 hours. That's relatively easy to do. And they get a bit of autophagy, because if it's an 18/6, they're breaking right at when autophagy starts kicking in. And then your 20/4. 25/4 is what I do. You're going to get a couple hours of really good autophagy in there, a lot more fat burning in there, because your body is starting to need energy, and there's no glucose in your system. I mean, there's glucose in your body, but it's just not being used. You switch over to burning fat, so you're going to do that. And then what else is there? There's OMAD.
Those are, that was going to be my next question to you. Is the OMAD, is that 1 meal a day?
Yeah. Okay. So when people do tell me that they're doing OMAD, and I just do not want to be offensive, I just find OMAD kind of kitschy. Now, if you say OMAD, I always say that I do OMAD. I just take 4 hours.
Right, because that's what you're doing.
Yeah, right. But if somebody sits down and eats this huge meal once a day, that's what OMAD is, and I'm okay with it. It's not something for me. That's what I'll say. It does have its issues. I think with OMAD, you can enter into caloric restriction, and that's not what intermittent fasting is about. If you eat a heavy meal, your pulse can go up, your blood pressure can definitely go up, because your body has rested for 23 hours, and all of a sudden you put this heavy meal on it. Yeah, the blood pressure has to go up so that it can send the blood and nutrients to the digestive system so that it can do its work. It would be like fasting for 23 hours and then running, 50 miles.
Exactly. And then we also hear a lot now about a 24-hour fast, 36-hour fast, 72-hour fast. What are those? And is that kind of intermittent fasting, or what
it depends on how you do it. If you do a 24-hour fast once a week and do nothing else, well, I guess you could say that you've intermittently fasted. Exactly. If you do 40 or 48 hours once a week, I would say definitely that's a type of intermittent fasting. There's alternate day fasting, where you eat what you want one day, and the next day you make sure you only eat around 500 calories and then go back to it.
So what are the benefits of these types of, or benefits or reasons why people would choose to fast for those longer period of times?
I think it's trying to fit it into your lifestyle. There's probably some variables. I mean, some people might enjoy the added benefits of a 24-hour fast, where you're really getting into some cell cleansing, a lot of autophagies going on there until you start eating again. and
Mm-hmm.
it just keeps on going. When you get into 48 hours, you're really, pumping it up. And when you get to 72 hours, you kind of maxed it out actually for that run.
Mm-hmm.
Autophagy is always going to happen. And I hear people say, 72 hours is the max amount of autophagy you can get. And it's like, really? No, I don't believe so, because since the body is always doing it, that might be when you have the maximum amount going on for that period of time.
Mm-hmm.
But if you keep fasting for 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, autophagy just doesn't stop and be like, okay, I'm done my job here. It still sees everything that's happening as a stress. And that's what autophagy raises its head and says, oh, hey, I need to help out.
Mm-hmm. Well, some of the things what I've noticed is that when people do the like 72-hour fast or something of that effect, that after the 72-hour fast, they find that they don't actually have an appetite. They find it hard to get back into eating after that length of fasting. What are your thoughts on that or your experience with that?
Well, it's an absolute phenomenon because your body has adapted to not having food. And did we speak about the ghrelin hormone last time?
Little
I can
bit,
touch
please.
on it. Okay,
Yes.
well, the ghrelin hormone is your hunger hormone. It's the thing that says, hey dude, feed me. You haven't fed me in 8 hours, you need to feed me. And it will punish you. It will make you hungry. Your belly will growl, and that's why some people think it's called growling.
That's how it sounds to me.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
growls.
yeah. So basically, what you did was when you're going on to a longer term fast, I like to say you've set ghrelin in the corner, made it go sit down somewhere, and you have an enormous amount of oh my gosh, I'm blocking leptin. You have leptin, and other chemicals going through your body saying, I'm satiated. Leptin is your satiation hormone, and you're just not hungry. That's what's going on. Here's the kicker: eat something. At a 72-hour fast, and you want to break it, and you don't want to continue, then you need to eat something. Go small, like have an orange or have some watermelon, and don't eat anything for 20 minutes after you break. But understand that once you put a couple calories in your body, ghrelin wakes up, comes out of the corner, and starts punishing you. That's where you have to be careful, because people just like, oh my gosh, they get the ravenous hunger after having the first morsel, and you can have problems with it. You're not gonna take away all of the benefits that you just received, but you are gonna have some problems that day and maybe a couple of days.
Yeah, well, people could binge or kind of get into that aspect when it
Mm.
ghrelin takes over. What about alternate day fasting? Tell me a little bit about that process that people are doing, and what are the reasons for that?
I think that alternate day fasting is kind of a good lifestyle that people want to get into, that don't necessarily have the ability to tell their family, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not in my feeding window." They or friends, or they have events. So alternate day fasting works really well for that. You get to bargain, with yourself. It's like, "Oh, it's my feeding day." Okay, so me and the guys are going to go out and have bean burgers and chips. Oh, I'm good. I'll just make up for it tomorrow. And then the next day you eat a little 500-calorie meal. Some eat nothing and just do it at a complete fast every other day.
Okay.
Uh, I would say that if that's the lifestyle that works for you, to go for it. I don't think that we can believe that you can eat crap food, vegan junk food, and then fast the next day and mitigate everything that you just did. I think that's a slippery slope. Unless if you're in this just for the weight loss, then that might be okay if you're not interested in all the health aspects.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I can see why somebody would be attracted to it. You get to eat what you want today, tomorrow you don't eat anything or eat very small amounts of food and get a lot of autophagy for that day. I just don't
Mhm.
believe that you're going to mitigate all of the problems. If you did, I mean, if you ate the daily dozen the day before and then did this, then,
It's a different story.
cheers.
Yeah. Hmm. What about because when we're fasting, say long-term fasting, do you recommend kind of changing it up a little bit? Like if somebody really likes a particular window, that's what some people are asking is if you say you're doing 18:6 for a little while, do you change it 2 days a week to something else, or how do you break it up? And is there a benefit to doing that?
I say work up to your window where you start seeing results. So if you work up to a 16 by 8 and you're starting to see results, don't change anything. Keep doing the 16:8. It's when you plateau is when I do my shake up program.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you stop and you haven't lost weight for a week or 2 weeks, a month, and you're getting frustrated, that's when I say just shake it up and then and switch things up. I have a specific uh, program where I call it day zero, where you eat bat crap crazy, anything you want, all day long, because that gets your metabolism going. It's like, oh my gosh, I got all this digestion to do, da da da. And then you then go into a 16 by 8 for a couple of days, do a 24-hour fast, come back, do an 18:6, a 20 by 4, and that's going to confuse your body. Your body doesn't know what's going on, and it's ready to metabolize food.
Mm-hmm. That's true. So in terms of weight loss, and then because especially right now you're doing the 14-day program right now, so looking at um, looking at intermittent fasting for that purpose, and then doing this rapid program. Tell us a little bit about how you've come and put this together and what you'll be doing.
For the 14-day
Mm-hmm.
rapid weight loss program.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the vegan 14-day rapid weight loss program I put together because I needed to lose weight. I tested it on people and it worked on them. So I wrote it out as a book, and then it just kept growing. I wrote it out as a book, and then I put a protocol in it, and then what to do daily, because it really gives you a structure. It is very firm but flexible, meaning the recommendations that I'm showing to do is something that I did for me. So I can't speak outside of that because I don't have the science on that. I just have the anecdotal evidence of what I did. And what I did was I stuck to the program. I did the walking every day. I did it in a 16:8, which was difficult for me because I'm a 20 by 4. I had to readjust, and yeah, I lost the weight, and that's kind of what we're doing. It's not sustainable. I've never said that it was something to do for the rest of your life, because it just doesn't have there's not enough food in there. You'll think there is because everybody that goes through the program says I was never hungry the whole time, and it just exploded. It's up to I think 250 folks now going through the program. So we're on round 4, getting ready to start March 1st, and people are losing weight. It's a 14-day program. I've had people lose from 14 pounds down to the lowest was like 7 pounds, but still it's the weight loss. And they're going against my will. And some of them are like on the second round. And then some of them are actually doing the program again because they like the food. Their families all like the food. And then they're just adding to it, like adding a can of beans in the day and stuff like that. So they can make sure they get enough of their proteins and fibers.
What are your thoughts on exercise, at least your experience? I know people have put some questions into our group to ask you. I know some of it is not per se your area, but from what you do know, what are your recommendations in terms of exercise, working out during, with intermittent fasting, during your fasting or window or your feeding window? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, a lot of folks add intermittent fasting into their workout routine to get the results. So, and a big question is, can I exercise whilst fasting. And I think, yeah, okay, as long as your body is okay with it, then, be okay with it. Stay hydrated, and if it's working for you, you're absolutely going to burn a lot more fat. So you're burning fat, and say the last 2 hours before you break your fast, if it's long enough, if it's like an 18 6 or something like that, your fat burning like doubles. And especially when you add exercise, because all of a sudden you need this energy, and you don't have glucose to supply that energy. So the body's like, oh, well, I got to have something. So it burns extra fat. And you'll see vegan athletes who add intermittent fasting, they have really tight bodies. And even guys my age that actually do the workout and stuff, their skin is nice and taut. It's a really good addition to your exercise routine. But I don't do it, and it's not a large focus of research for me. So I can't speak intelligently on it until I do more research. And it's on my list, but there's so many things on my list. I got a stack of research.
I definitely think it's something for us to, to come back to. For myself too, I did the 18 hours fasting. And so it just so happened that, so I was going till 2:00, and then my workout was at noon. So I was doing kickboxing. So it just so happened to fit perfectly into that 18. So the last 2 hours was technically I was burning, and then I would to drive home. So it gave me these 2 hours in there. So that seemed to work really well for me. I'm not sure how it would work for, if you were doing 20 or 24 hours, because then you definitely have a larger window. But recently I've met people that want to actually gain. They want to gain weight and muscle, and they're doing bodybuilding and strength training. So that's probably something, definitely whatever comes across your path, for us to look more into. And I'd love to bring you back to the show.
Yeah, I'll put it on my I'll put it on my stack. I'll try to move it up closer to the top.
Yeah. I appreciate that. But yeah, that would be really wonderful. And I think our group would be so appreciative that we addressed most of the questions that they put in there today. And I know that the group's also doing a 72-hour fast today. So this weekend. So we're supporting everybody through there. And so I want to thank you again for coming on the show, and thank you for putting that 14-day program. I'm going to be joining, so
yes.
I'm excited about that.
Bring all your friends.
Yes, absolutely, because everyone's asking. I'm like, you know what? I know just the thing. So
yeah, and even if people are enjoying it that aren't even wanting to lose weight, the recipes are just so much fun. And there's a lot of folks that are bringing their spouses along unwittingly, but I've heard that some of the spouses are like, oh yeah, I'm into this, could we have the PB&J smoothie again today?
I think that is one of the things, is finding the right foods to break your fast with and to include in your feeding window. And you're really providing that, because I think that's where people struggle, is not knowing what to eat or what to cook or what to put together. So you providing that really helps and makes that journey so much easier. So thank you for that. So hope to get you again on the show soon.
It was so good talking to you. Thanks for having me. I very much appreciate your time. You're so sweet. Take care.
Thanks, James.
All right.
To find out more about Just James and intermittent fasting, visit intermittentfastingforvegans.com or find the same on YouTube and Facebook.